I've been a member of Slow Food for several years, and recently I've been one of the people starting a campaign for real bread, which essentially is doing many of the things that that the Slow Bread campaign is aiming to do as well. In other words, to try and begin to rebuild something like a bread culture in a country like Britain, which has progressively lost it over the last 200 years, or more even. When I say lost it, I mean lost it to a culture of industrial production for cheapness and convenience, as opposed to quality and integrity, and I might say digestibility and nutritional quality as well. So what we're doing in our different ways, we in the Real Bread campaign majoring on it, and Slow Food as one project among many others, is to, first of all, to try and make people aware of what actually goes into their bread, so that they can distinguish in an informed way between good quality and poor quality bread. Because the trouble with bread is that there's a lot of jiggery-pokery involved in bread. You can put stuff in it, you can make it look good, and actually it ends up by not tasting very good, or indeed the taste can corrupt your own taste buds by appealing to it in a rather subtle and not terribly honest way. In other words, by cultivating a kind of softness that's only possible by the use of artificial enzymes, for instance. Now that yields the kind of pappy, claggy consistency in bread which passes for freshness in British bread. Now what we're trying to do is not to say that that's always and forever wrong, but to say we would like people to know how that's achieved. So it's a matter of public information and transparency of labelling, and on that we are, well, as with everything else, actually at one. After that we can then say, okay, how is it produced? What is the difference between artisanal production and industrial production? And in general, the difference is between a machine and a human being. The machine is repeatable, it works quickly, and it produces stuff which is always the same, whereas an artisan is essentially an artist for whom every batch is unique and has some of him or her going into it. So variability is actually something that we cultivate because it's an expression of the humanity that lies behind the project. And that is what we essentially are going to be trying to do, to show how taste and overall quality resides much more in the artisanal approach than the industrial one, and to encourage people to go out and try and find those people who are making bread in the artisanal way. Now we're going to be doing it through a bread finder, which will be a web-based device where people can put in their postcode and find where to get good bread in their locality. And we're going to be supporting the Slow Bread project in terms of taste education, schools work, and just supporting those relatively small number of artisans who exist in this country to actually get out there and get their wares better known. And then we can start building on a real foundation. But of course, you know, we're unpicking an enormously long history. There was a writer as far back as 1770 who pointed out that the people in London were eating a terrible bread which was corrupted and adulterated with all kinds of appalling things, including alum and in some cases white lead, to make it whiter. And he used this wonderful phrase saying that the good people of London know that they are actually eating rubbish, but they prefer white bread to brown due to a most absurd gratification of a misjudging eye. In other words, it was all about the appearance and nothing about the actual fundamental quality of the product. And we've got to get over the appearance, we've got to get to taste, we've got to get to integrity, and that means how long has it been fermented, what's the ingredients, where do they come from, have they been processed with care, or have they been brutally milled to within an inch of their life and everything good taken out of them. And all those familiar issues which lie at the heart of the Slow philosophy, which is that food should be good, clean and fair, but that it should also come from a soil which is in good heart and which is taken care of by the people who grow the food.